Hey, everybody. This is Sherry with Butternut Hollow, hashtag Old Lady with Tools, back here for our Monday Live. Hoping that I have another fun project for you. I'm just bringing you guys up on my phone right now so I can see. Hoping that I have see your comments and find a place to set my phone. I don't know where I'm going to do that because I rearranged my table trying to give myself more room. There we go. So I'm going to turn the camera down and hopefully you guys will enjoy this. So let's get the camera down. Okay, so tonight we're going to be using Royce's, a part of her typography block paper, and I'll show you. It's this paper here, and I'm just using the music note side. So you see that there's plenty of other projects that I can get out of this. So I cut that off, and then we're going to also be using the blue tartan and just some scraps. Again, I save my scraps. This is why, guys. So what we're going to do is I cut out a mason jar out of wood, and I used a 1-inch pine, and I just made it to the size I wanted. And this is about 9 inches tall and about 5.5 inches wide. And then I just stained it like I always do. I stained the sides and the front. And then this part of this is going to be the snowman's hat. So I stained that. And then I just took a piece of lath and I split it. And that's going to be the hat brim. And these two pieces will be decoupaged in the blue tartan. And then I just made him a nose out of the other part of the lath that I cut. So we're going to get, excuse me, we're going to get this painted white so that it can be drying so we can decoupage it. And then we'll paint the nose orange. But let's get this white first. Hey, Barbara, how you doing tonight? Thanks for joining me. And as you see, when I come off my sides, I come this way and then lift my brush up. And I do that because that keeps my paint from oozing over and getting on my the stained edge. So it just makes it look cleaner. Hey, Cinder, you made it. You're not late. You're not late, dear. I just started. I don't consider that late. You're good, dear. You're good. So we're just going to paint this white. And I did list this in my shop today as a kit. You can either get the whole kit or you can just buy the wood pieces. Hey. Hi, Lauren. Did you have trouble getting on? Sometimes Facebook can be wonky, even though I'm using StreamYard, but I'm live on Facebook, so yeah. But I'm glad you made it, sweetie. I got to see my two sisters today, so that's always good for your soul when you have wonderful sisters. So I got to spend a couple hours with them today, so that was nice. And this white coat of paint, guys, does not have to be perfect because we're going to decoupage it. I'm only painting that white because I want to. Hey, Rita, I want the music note paper to pop. So we're going to set that aside and we'll get the nose painted here real quick. And of course, I'm going to do my ever so lovely paint or tape trick, so I don't have to handle all those pieces. Oh, hey, Patrick, how you doing, dear? So we're just going to give this this nose a quick coat. And again, I stained everything like I said. I do not paint my sides or the edges or the back of my pieces, but I do stain them to make them look finished. But if you don't like that look, you can paint them. I just like the stained look better. It's just my preference. There's not a right or wrong way. Oh, Cinder, I'm sorry about that. I've lost one of my sisters too. So the ones of us that are left are trying to make the days count for that reason. So I understand your pain. We'll set the nose over there. and let that dry. And I'm not going to paint where my hat paper is going to go because I want it to darken up the paper. I don't want the paper to pop like it's going to on this white. So that's why I deliberately stained those edges. Oh, hey, Helen, thanks for joining me. I love to have newbies. The paint I use, Helen, is it's called Farmhouse paint. It's got a top coat built in. It's my go-to paint for decoupaging. The paper sticks really well, but you can use really any paint you have. There's not a right or wrong paint line. This is just the paint that I prefer to use. But I suggest people don't go out and buy new paint. But if you want to try the Farmhouse, get a hold of me. I'd be happy to talk or share you some with you. But yeah, this is just a Farmhouse, and this is the classic white. So this is good and dry. So now we're going to go ahead and decoupage. We can decoupage all the pieces. The nose I'm not going to need for a while, so let's just set that back out of our way. Anytime, Helen, reach out if you have any questions. I'm happy to help. So now I'll get my decoupage medium. I just always give mine a good shake. I use a DIY liquid patina. But again, any clear water-based top coat will work. So use what you like. Use it you're familiar with. I'm just going to lay down my anchor row here first. I always lay down an anchor row when I'm decoupaging because it will hold my paper in place. And I'm going to miss the top part of this paper. As you can tell, I don't read notes, so I have no idea if it's, I think it's this way. I don't know that it would matter if it's on upside down. You know what, though? I do want this other side. So let's get this down first. I just want to make sure my medium is good and wet. So then I'm going to put my paper on. My paper is going to kind of go at an angle because of the way the hat brim sits. And I missed my paper because it gets the paper wet, and then you have less chance of wrinkles. Hey, Joni, fancy seeing you again, sister. I was just telling them how nice it was to see you ladies today. And then I lift my paper up. I'm going to miss the rest of this paper, though. And then I'm just going to fold it up like this. Fold it back. There we go. Oh, tell Glenn I said hi, Cinder. I'm sure he really wants to watch me. You're funny. Back at you, Lauren. So then I'm going to lay this paper down and smooth it out. And I just use a balled up saran wrap for the new ones, because then you can smooth your paper out and the heat off of it doesn't generate to the paper off your hands. Because sometimes, believe it or not, you'll get friction and you'll rip your paper. And so I always just use a saran wrap to smooth it all out. And we're going to set this aside. And well, first I better do the top of this hat. Let's get the top of this hat decoupage before I do the brim. Whoops, did you guys just see what I did? Dumped the wrong end of the brush in my medium. But you see how this white made this paper pop? I did not want my blue tartan to pop like that. I wanted it to look a little more aged. So and it's going to go on there a little wonky because of the way I'm going to put his hat on him. Whoops. Let's give this a mist. And we'll get it stuck down. Cinder, you're funny. And then we're going to do the hat brim. So I'll just slide this over a little bit so it's out of my way. And again, this is from the typography blocks, a paper of Royce's, and this is the blue tartan. And the blue tartan, you guys, was just scraps. That's why I say my scraps, because you never know when you just need a little piece. And there's nothing more frustrating than to have to cut a big paper when you just need a little piece. I'm just cleaning the edges off of this brim because I do not want my paper to stick to the brim, to the edge, I should say. We're just going to lay this down on there and smooth it out gently with my fingers. And then we got to let this dry, but I'm going to speed it up with my little craft dryer here. Slide this back in here, because then we're going to sand the edges, and then we get to the decorating part. And he's going to be a snowman made from a mason jar out of wood. So we'll get this dry so I can clean it up. And I've had people ask me about my little craft dryer because it's so quiet. It's from Ranger, and it's called a Heat It. I do have a couple of them left. I was selling them. I have a couple of them left in my shop, and they're on my website under the Ranger products if you're interested. If you have somebody else, a local person, I want you to go patronize your local people. We got to really start shopping local, guys, because small businesses are really trying to stay afloat here. I'm not done with that decoupage medium yet, so I'm just going to set it off to the side. And now I'm going to clean these up. And by doing that, I take my sandpaper. I'm just going to use a sanding block. And for the newbies, you want to go down in one direction. You don't want to sand back and forth because you will rip your paper. But if you just go down in one direction, and the sanding block probably started out as a 220. It's probably not anymore because I use it a lot. But if you have a piece of sandpaper, you can use sandpaper too. I just like the blocks. So we're just gonna. Well, hey, Sherry Martin, how you doing? I'm making a snowman out of a wooden mason jar cutout that I cut out the other day. So here's this little hat brim, but see how that sandpaper cleans these edges up? Just slick. That's why I clean my edges up like that. And now I got to bring this to the edge. Let me see if I can. I'll try and keep you in frame. We should be able to clean it up like this. Turn it. And this snowman, I will tell you, is going to be grungy because I love grunge. You don't have to grunge them up. The kit will come with some brown paint if you want to grunge them up. But if you like to keep them crisp and clean, you absolutely can. I'm just doing him in my style, which is grunge. So we're going to clean these edges, and we're not going to worry about that white because of, see, my paper was wet, and you see that little spot, but that's okay because we're going to grunge them up, so that will hide it. We will hide it. But that's because my paper wasn't dry all the way, and I stuck my thumb on there. But it won't hurt a thing. I usually lay this on the edge of the table to do this, but I want to stay in camera for you guys, so that's why I'm doing this the hard way. There we go. But see how that cleans up these edges nice and slick. We'll set that aside. And before I want to even grunge up my paper, so I'm going to take, I want some soft paper. So I'm going to take, this is like a 120, and I am just going to lightly sand my paper just to rough it up. I want those marks in there. See those scratch marks? That's what I want. Oh, that wasn't it. We don't really want to do that. Hang on here. Let's fix that real quick. This is still really wet. So we got to dry this just a little more. And again, because I'm grunging him up, that tear does not bother me. By the time I get his hat decorated with some stuff, you won't even see it anyway. I just don't want to, I don't want it tore that bad. So just let me use a light hand here and kind of, there. And this paper here, I'm going to grunge up another way, so we won't worry about that. And now, before we get all the embellishments on there, I'm going to take this is the Ground Espresso in Archival ink. And I like it because I can heat set it. And I'm just going to take my dauber on here, and you see how I'm inking it up. And I'm just going to go around the edges like this. Now, in the kit, you won't get no archival ink because to make it cost feasible, I couldn't do that. But you will get a little thing of brown paint that you can water down, and you can do the same thing with it. You could use a glaze if you wanted to. Either one will work. I just love using this dauber and the archival ink. It's just what I like to use. See, I'm just kind of like framing the snowman like this. And then it will also, I'll go over where I roughed up those edges, where I sanded that paper. And that will fill them in and make that look aged too. And then I'm going to take my dauber here, and I'm just going to go over the white paper a little bit to make it look a little dirtier, a little grungier. And I'll do the same thing to this little hat brim. I got to be careful where that was wet though. Because I do not want to. And that spot's going to be covered, so it does not concern me. And then one more thing we got to do. My nose is dry. This nose, not my nose. So I'm just going to take this sanding paper, and I want to sand these edges. To outline this nose just a little better. And you'll see what I'm doing here in a minute. I'll hold it up for you. Just give it a little sand like that. See how I expose that edge? The edges around the snowman? Because I want to take my archival ink again and rub those edges, and I'm going to grunge up his nose. So see, now his nose is a little grungier. So we're done with the ink. Get some of this stuff out of our way. And now we're going to build our snowman. And the first thing I want to do is I want to put make his cheeks rosy. And this is regular powder that ladies wear. I don't use it, and I just put some on my finger and I work it into my paper, which is why I haven't sealed the paper yet. We're going to come up here and do it in that spot that lift it up a little bit. You won't even be able, it won't even stand out. But I do want his cheeks to be nice and rosy. And seeing this kind of picks up the green in your wood too, which I kind of like too. That doesn't bother me. See, he's got nice rosy cheeks now. Okay. So now we get to decorate him, and I'm going to stand up here to do this because I want to make sure I'm straight. And so his hat brim is going to go on there like that. And all I got to do is catch the bottom of that paper. So let's get that hat brim on there, and I'm just using my hot glue tonight. We'll get this positioned to how we want it. So just on an ever so slightly angle. And then his eyes are buttons. But I kind of want his nose like this. He's going to have greenery and everything up here, so I don't want that to interfere. Oh, thank you, Judy. I'm glad I make it look easy. So we're going to kind of glue these on here first. And then we'll embellish his hat. And I don't know, the embellishments that I think that you add, I think is what makes everything look so stinking cute. We're just going to glue his little eyes on. Kind of get them in place where I want them. We'll paint his mouth on later, but let's work on his hat, because his hat, to me, I think is what really makes him. I mean, I shouldn't say that because I think everything adds to it, but I got all kinds of stuff here that I want to try and put on his hat. And I kind of have an idea in my head how I want it to look. So we're going to put some greenery on there, of course. And these are just pieces. Actually, guys, if you have them like a wreath that you're not using anymore, cut those little branches and you can cut them any size you want. Oh, hey, Rochelle. Thanks, sweetie. So we're going to let that glue dry. And then I want to add all kinds of different material, I think, is what I want to do. I've got to lay it out, though, so I can see kind of how I want him to go. And I think I'm folding these, you see, to make it look like a bow. Like I've made a bow, but really it's not a bow. It's really just scraps of material. Well, hi, Melanie. How are you and your mom and Angus doing? Hey, Jess. Thanks, sweetie. I do think I like them. I'm going to scrunch them a little bit. Let's get them in place. But you know what? I think they're a little too long for what I want. So let's just trim these two up a little bit. I'm thinking that's what I don't, that's what's throwing me off. And as you can see, I'm just gluing these on the back side of that brim. So I'm really utilizing that brim to my advantage. I think I need a little more glue right there. Oh, Atlas, sorry. Not Angus, Atlas. I'm glad, Melanie. Thank you for correcting me. Melanie has the cutest little boy. And then I think we're going to glue these underneath here, this side of the brim, to give it some dimension down here. And I can always trim up these pieces down here, so I just want to get them in place first. But I do want some of them to hang down in his face just because I like it that way. I'm just going to give this a... As you can see, these are not my sewing scissors, so they don't cut like my material scissors, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Okay, so we'll make sure this is glued there. So I don't want anything coming off. There we go. And I know it doesn't look like much, but hang in there, guys. It will, I promise. That's okay. Put that Christmas tree up for that little boy, Melanie. Let them enjoy their Christmas. They only get to do it. Pretty soon those days are going to be gone. So I'm just trying to decide where I want these to fall. And I actually think I want them to fall like that, and then I will trim them up because I think they're a little too long for what I want, but that's okay. And all this stuff you see here, when we get done, you won't even see it, you guys, I promise. So let me see if I can find an area on these scissors that are a little sharper than the last time. There we go. Yep. And I'm just going to tuck this underneath there so that it doesn't. Okay. So I'm liking that. I got glue string. And now I want to add some more colors up here, I think. So let's see. How do I want to do this? I think I'm going to put... Hey, Lexi. How you doing? I think I'm going to add these on there like that. But before I do that, I think I want to add some green. And see, all I did, guys, is take scraps and cut and rip them thin. And by the time you get done and add these on here, it will look like you made all these bows, and really, you didn't. So I'm kind of cheating is what I'm doing. And I'm okay with that, honestly. Right? We figure it out. If I had all these bows on here, it would have been way too thick. And I know I wouldn't have liked that. Well, thank you, Melanie. So this is going to make it look like, again, like I made a bow. And really, I haven't. And I'm just going to put them on there like that, because all of this is going to be covered up. Let's just trim that up a little bit. Okay, don't tell. And then I have these wired things, guys, and I really I want some sprigs coming out of there. So again, I'm going to take my curling tool like this, and I'm just going to stick that in the end, and I'm going to wrap it. I've had this tool for years, so I don't even really know where I got it from, but I use it all the time. So we're just wrapping these, and I go in odd numbers. So I'm just trying to decide where I want to stick these. This one was already curled. And so I think we're going to, let's see, maybe like that. We're just going to get these glued into place. Let them fall wherever. Thanks, Rita. He's coming together, I think. I kind of like him. I do. Whoops, this one's caught. I scrunched it down a little bit because I didn't want them sticking out quite that far. We're just going to tack that there. I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I want any more of this or not. I don't think I do. Because we're going to take some moss. We're going to put it right in the center of all of this like this. So just like that. And I'm going to glue it down. And then, of course, a rusty bell. And we're going to glue it down. So far, this is what we have. What do you guys think? Can you see them coming together? And then we just got to make his mouth. And he's done. And this didn't take hardly any time at all, did it? Now, I will tell you, as soon as I don't have it in here or I would show you, but I take a mixture of 50-50 of my clear top coat and water, and I put it in a fine mist bottle like this. This is water in here, otherwise I'd use it. But it's just a fine mist sprayer. And I will stand back like from a distance like this, and I will spray him, and that will set this stuff on his cheeks. The ink will be dry by then. I could have heat set it, but I knew it would be dry by the time I spray it. And then you don't have to worry about your ink running. You don't have to worry about this stuff coming off. It's kind of like how you set the paint inlays. That's how I set my paint inlays before I top coat them and seal them, is with that 50-50 mixture. I can't talk. And now I just draw his mouth on. I'm going to just draw his mouth on. And I use these Posca pens. They're like a paint pen, I'm thinking, but I love them. So I'm just giving it a shake. It's ready to go. And now we just got to draw his mouth on, and hopefully I can draw it because I'm on a live where it looks okay. So let's see what I can do. And I like wonky mouths. So we're just going to go like that. And then I just give him a couple little cheek marks, some little eyebrows. And look at that. He's done. What do you think? And it's just a mason jar cutout that I turned into the snowman. Now, the pens, Rita, I got these off of Amazon, honestly. Now, I'm going to put him on a little black stand, but you could drill holes in the top here and you could put a wire hanger on there and you can use them as a hanger too. But I'm going to set him on a stand. So it was just a quick little project. Took us a half hour maybe to do it all. Might take you a little longer because I did have the edges stained, but I mean, it's a quick little project and it was kind of fun. So that's just all I got tonight, guys. I thought it might take me a little longer than that. I guess I'm faster than I thought. But I'll turn you back up this way so we can, excuse me. So here he is. Hope you can see him. My camera on my laptop, guys. That's why it looks dark versus when I turn it down. So, oh, thank you, Cinder. So he's done, and I don't know where there's a good shot to show you. But anyway, he's cute. Kits are available. You can either get it in a full kit where you'll get everything except for the archival ink. You'll just get a little brown ink. Or you can just get the wooden pieces, which would be his hat brim, the mason jar, and his nose. It's available either way. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. I hope you enjoyed this simple little project because, like I said, it didn't take long. I know I was quick, wasn't I, Reed? I didn't think I was going to be that quick, but that also shows you how simple it is. So it's a fun craft to do. So you guys have a great night. I'll talk to you later. Bye.